Today, I'm interviewing artist and NFT expert Justin Tigner. Justin has created some of the most famous artworks in sports, as well as painted shoes for athletes in the NBA and the NFL. He has been featured on ESPN and the Columbian, and his paintings have helped raise funds for dozens of foundations. He has been working on an NFT project called NFT Sports Art, and today he's going to give us some insight on NFTs. If you just want to brag about you and your project, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear all about you. So yeah, okay. So I guess the first question is who is Justin Tigner?
Uh, I I am a sports artist. I'm actually a high school art teacher, as you know. Um, but I kind of got into teaching through my sports art and my connections there, and also through coaching. So, been doing sports art for kind of my whole life professionally for about 20, almost 25 years. I've been teaching high school art for this will be my seventh year, I think, coming up. Um, but yeah, it's my whole life has kind of revolved around art in some way or another.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect. And so how did you get into NFTs? Like how did you learn about NFTs? Like how did you learn about that world?
Um, I think it was right at the start of the pandemic when everyone went into lockdown. Um, and my sister had kind of talked to me a little bit about it, but nothing too in depth. And right about that time is when Beeple kind of blew up, and I think one of his NFTs sold for like $60 million. And so that obviously, as an artist, catches your attention. Like, wait a minute, a digital piece of art sold for $60 million. All right, how does this work? And so then I started kind of diving in and investigating. Like, well, how do you even start? And I mean, it's to just scratch the surface isn't too bad to figure it out to create an account like on Rarible or OpenSea is even easier. Um, and then just creating kind of that buzz on social media and getting eyes on your work. And so I just started with what I love, and that's obviously sports stuff. So I started doing digital paintings of basketball players. So I just got on Adobe Photoshop, and again, we're in lockdown. So I would do post my teaching assignments in the morning, have my email up and constantly check, see if anyone's asking questions and stuff. And then I just spent the day kind of drawing in Photoshop, creating these digital portraits of basketball players. And so it kind of stayed at that stage for a while, and just promoting my stuff and just kind of creating an NFT persona that goes along with my sports art persona. And so I'd say for me, it was easier to create the digital portraits than it was to be a presence on social media, as like your every waking hour almost had to be a hashtag NFT sports art, hashtag Rarible. It was constant. Like, I need to post something constantly, and then it turns into I have to create new content because I can't just keep posting the same thing. And it it was probably a harder job being the social media person by far than just I need to create content.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I mean, I understand that because you can make art and that's your passion, but understand like the social media world, that's when things change and you have to start making content. So I totally
Yep.
understand that. So what so about your project. So tell me about your NFT project. Like I don't know much about it, but I just want to hear what is it all about?
Well, it's it's all sports. It started as basketball. Um, what I noticed was NBA stuff was kind of big, wasn't huge, wasn't blowing up. It's funny because you want your thing to catch on, you want your thing to be big. And what I was finding was the things that were big were these real pixelated, like the punks, and those things were blowing up and worth a ton. And then it was apes, and then it was just stuff I didn't do. And so it was hard to stick with my guns and kind of say, I am a sports artist. I'm going to create sports NFTs. And you kind of have to adjust what you do, not enough to change what you do, but to make it something that people are going to want. And so I kind of got away from the digital artwork because people would just throw a photo through a Photoshop filter, and it was like, okay, you went Google searched this player, saved his JPEG, and ran it through a filter in Photoshop and posted it, and so I had to start kind of recording my process to show, no, I'm hand drawing these with a digital pen in Photoshop to kind of go, no, look, these are unique. I'm starting to, and this is just recently, I'm hand drawing my stuff on paper and scanning it in. So you can physically see, okay, this has been drawn. Like this isn't, no, nothing's been downloaded, nothing's been altered. It's a physical piece of art. So it's still, it's always going to be 100% art. I mean, there's always that temptation, like, okay, make a change, do a crazy dog, or it's just like something that I wouldn't do, but it's selling. And I've had ideas, and it's like, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna stick with sports. So all my stuff is, as far as I can see, will always be 100% art. I've started doing Premier League soccer players, just because that's a bigger world market than NBA players. I mean, NBA players are still big, but soccer is kind of still the king of the world in terms of sports. So always sports. I still have digital stuff. I'm not going to say that I'll never do digital painting again, because it is kind of fun to be able to just make a mistake and go Control Z and your mistake is gone, rather than painting it by hand and going, okay, I got to get white paint out and I got to cover this up, or I got to get the eraser. I got to try to fix this. So digital art will always be there, but I'm going to start shifting to the physical art and working on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in a way, you're sticking to your guns and doing what you know, but also kind of evolving with what the
Yeah.
market's doing. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so tell me about like the technical side behind NFTs, like because from I know you have an NFT where you actually send the physical painting, like the utility behind it. Can you tell me something about that?
So that's the new thing that kind of steered me towards that, creating actual pieces of art. Um, because now the way the NFT world is going, people just don't want just that NFT. They want access to something. They want, you buy the NFT, here's a shirt of the NFT, or here's access to a club. Here's, you buy this NFT and you're one of 100 people that get into this party, or something unique. And so creating a physical piece of art now will, I think, increase the value of this one of one NFT. That if you buy it, you get a physical piece of hand drawn art. And it's funny because I think when NFT started, that was kind of the point of it, was not to have something you'd have to hang on your wall. It's, I have this kind of, it's almost like a stock. Like I've bought stock in this artist. You don't have physically their artwork, but it's like, hey, if this artist blows up, I've purchased stock in them. That's what this NFT is. And if they blow up, my stock in them blows up. But now it seems like it's starting to shift to, I want something physical. And I don't know any developers. I can't create a game or access to the metaverse with my art. I don't know how any of that works. The only thing I know is, here's a physical piece of art. Take it if you buy this NFT.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, the utility side behind, NFTs is pretty crazy. So, um, now I want to ask, so when someone buys your NFT and they sell it, do you get a royalty off of that NFT?
So I create all of my NFTs through Rarible, and I haven't done anything through OpenSea or um, any of the other sites. Through Rarible, you can set your royalty, and I set mine. I don't know if it's low, usually at 10%. So as long as my NFT exists in the world, as long as it sells, I always get 10% of whatever it sells for. And it's not a dollar amount, it's an Ethereum amount. So if Ethereum's at $1,500 and it sells for one Ethereum, I get 10% of the $1,500. If Ethereum's at $20,000, I get 10% of $20,000 essentially, and then it goes up and down as Ethereum goes up and down. So uh, that's something I've been toying with. Should the royalty be lower? Will that help sales? What things will people get when they purchase that NFT? Do I need to do shirts? Do I need to do like prints, like a run of 10? So here's an NFT. There's 10 of them. There's 10 prints that go with each one. It's always this kind of look to see what other people are doing, look to see what is working for them, and then just going, all right, it worked for them. I might as well do that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, exactly. So, I'll ask, what has been the most exciting thing you've seen in the NFT world or like in the art world?
I think there's a couple things that have been exciting. Is obviously sports stuff is out there. Sports stuff is selling. Some of it's just 8-bit pixel artwork of players. Some of it's very detailed digital stuff. I've seen some actual physical stuff that's done well. That's exciting for me being a sports artist. I think kind of another thing that's exciting is just the amount of people now that are starting to get their eyes on this world. It's because when it started, I was one of those people that's like, well, I can just go to Google and just right click and save the image to my computer, and I have it too. But I think the way I think about it is, I explained before, is buying stock. Like, if I own Apple stock, they don't send me AirPods or an iPhone. I have to go buy those separate, but I own stock in them. So as long as they do well, my stock increases. And I kind of see the NFT world as that. You do get access to certain things. You get prints, you get shirts, like you do get those utilities that come along with them. But for the most part, I think a lot of people, you're buying stock in an artist. And so I think that is exciting from the art world. Is it's almost like stocks in companies, you're buying stocks in artists. And I think that's exciting because there's some really great artists out there that now you're getting to see their work and see their names. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen them before.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And then the last question I have is, what future do you see with NFTs? So whether that's in the art world or just like in the, crypto Web3 market, like what future do you see with NFTs?
Man, I I don't even know, considering that it's blown up rather quick. I think it is here to stay. The Web3 stuff, the metaverse stuff, that's as far above my head as you can get, and stuff I do not understand. But you're starting to see things where it's like, oh, okay, that's, you're going to be able to buy more physical things with NFTs, I think, and cryptocurrencies, cars and houses, and it kind of seems like it's almost shifting to that. It's probably not going to be immediate, but like cash and credit cards might end up being a thing where people look back and go, wait, you guys carried around paper currency that you handed to each other. It's not cryptocurrency that you're changing back and forth. So yeah, this is something I have no idea where it's going, because it's blown up so quick. It's hard to see where it can go, because it's just so fast to this plateau, so fast with the cryptocurrencies, and the amount of cryptocurrencies that are out there. It'll be interesting to see if it's, there's obviously kind of the big couple that have risen to the top with Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that. It'll be interesting to see if they're still going to just keep pumping out these really minor cryptocurrencies that are worth like 8 billionth of a cent, and if it continues in that path, or if it's going to be, hey, here's the big three, and this is kind of what we're going with. So, man, I do not have a good answer for where this thing is going. It's exciting. I'll say this, it's exciting because, it's, from my perspective, I'm not investing a ton of money into this. It doesn't cost me a lot of money to mint. I wait for gas prices to get low before I mint stuff. So it's only costing me like $10 to mint an NFT. And so, you're not out very much money. It's time, sure, but I'm never like putting off things to work on NFTs. It's kind of like, oh, I have a free couple hours. I'll work on an NFT and, and get it on there when gas prices are low. So, it's fun. It's a fun hobby. I can see how it'd be stressful if like this was my job and you're grinding every day. Like, I've got to create 3 NFTs today. So for me, it's fun. It's fun now, and we will see where it goes. But I don't think it's ever going to end up for me being a 24/7, 365. I'm an NFT artist, and that's all I do.
And that's as it should be. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you, Mr. Tigner.
Awesome.
That's great.
You can call me Justin now. You're not my student.
Well,
anymore.
you know what? I'm working. I respect you, and I'm so used to just calling you Mr. Tigner. So